How many of us nature might have skipped by if it wasn't for the Granny Witch? How many of our ancestors might not have made it through life if there hadn't been a Granny Witch? You know, the Appalachian Mountains, there was a time they didn't know anything but the natives and the animals that roamed about. And then there come that time across the ocean when these big old ships were being loaded by immigrants looking for a better life, for freedom, a place of their own. So we have the Scotch Irish and the British and the Germans, among others, that were on their way to the Appalachian Mountains. And among them were these wise old women from the mother countries, the mothers of us all, the doctors and healers and the midwives, and most importantly, the ones that looked to God for guidance. When they got over here to these mountains, the natives taught these women the plants and herbs and the healing powers that they possessed. And along with African American influence from the slaves that was running away from slavery down south, we had the Appalachian Mountain Witch. Now the word witch conjures up many thoughts and paints a picture in one's mind that may send a chill down the spine. One might think of Dorothy in the Yellow Brick Road, or you might think of a wart-covered old witch turning the children into gingerbread. But I'm here to tell you that couldn't be any farther from the truth. In fact, it's not even close. The word witch is used recklessly, and the thought of evil, most of these grannies, that wasn't even in their vocabulary. Their mission was primarily to serve others. Everything from a baby with colic to the nosebleeds or just the flu symptoms. She would ease a mother's pain at childbirth, and in the event of an emergency, you would hope in her bag of tricks that she had something to pull you through, and in most cases she did. That old wart that come up on your hand, that old aggravating thing, well, who did you turn to? That's right, an old granny witch. What if you had the flu that just wouldn't turn you loose? You'd make your way to see her, or you'd send for her. She'd put some sulfur down your shoe. She'd have you back to yourself in no time. Now imagine you burnt yourself out on the forge, or a cooking. You would hope that one of these women was nearabouts. With just a little blow of smoke across that burn, and a whisper of the right words, you could feel the pain leaving that burn. Now sometimes, some of these women that possess this gift of witching powers, and in some instances men, they would cross over to the dark side, and they would use these powers to inflict pain and hardships. And if he was one of the unlucky ones that she aimed her wrath toward, where would he turn? He'd hunt one of these granny witches up, and he'd ask her for help to ward off the evil that's coming his way. You know the old saying goes, you fight fire with fire. Now personally, I think it's time we give these miraculous women the praise they so deserve. We may have called them witches, but myself, I think if we're not careful, we're going to let the word witch taint their legacy. These wonderful lifesavers, the healers, and when you get down to it, they're the mothers of us all. If it wasn't for these women in the Appalachians, generations and generations ago, we might not be here. Some of us may never even been born. Some of our ancestors' lives may not have been spared. I don't believe it was something from the dark side. I truly believe wholeheartedly that they were sent from the Lord to take care of all these mountain people, to doctor and nourish, and to keep our ancestors alive, or birth them, make sure they made it on their journey into life. These old granny witches, they had a lot of responsibilities. They was midwives, and they was just awesome, strong, brave women. And with all that, they had to shoulder the weight and responsibility of carrying the granny magic and being thought of as a mountain witch.